Do I have a video for you all here today? We are talking about the world first Thorns Barbarian, Nightmare 100 clear, a $1,000 bet, and so much more. This is going to be an insane video, prepared to be entertained, and let's get on with it. What up, team? It is MurderInc. We are talking about, like I said, I'm just going to play this video and start going. First of all, huge shout out to K-Galt. He's the one who did this. He is someone who is known in the past for doing and pushing very high in the leaderboards for Diablo 3 and other games, of course. And he's here and theory crafted his own Thorns Barbarian build. We can see the orange gems inside of his weapons. You love to see it because everyone knows that in the past, I don't know, since Diablo 4 has been out, there have been no really good guides for Thorns, whether it's been in the past week, day, month, there just aren't any. And this guy, you're going to see, first of all, this build is just walking straight up to elites. In a Nightmare 100, you can see, Shift to Ruins, Nightmare tier 100, first try. So this is just incredible to see how he just doesn't care. Elite, oh, let me go fight it. Where you have Hammer of the Ancients, you have Whirlwind just running away from elites, clearing here and there when they can because of how dangerous it is. This guy's build is just insane. So the first thing you notice, he has 26,000 health. That's a lot of health. That is a lot of health. And like a Giga Chad, he has the damage resistance aura champions here, the last to die. Everything else dies around him and he's the last. You don't know how Thorns works? It's like a thorn, right? You think of a thorn from a rose. It's pretty much you get hit, you deal damage back. So that combined with so many other things, you can look at his skills. He's using Frenzy, complete Giga Chad by the way, to incorporate Frenzy into 100 clear. Steel Grasp, I've already said I love Steel Grasp. We're a huge fan of this already. The 3 shouts, we have Axe Expertise as he just hovered over here, and we have Iron Skin. So required for sure here. And I don't know, I can't get over how, first of all, you can see how low his health gets here. Now he's just chilling here. He's not spamming potions. He's not doing anything crazy. He's just chilling at low health. Doesn't care. Elites all around him in 100. This, I don't know. So if you don't know about Thorns, even though I kind of just explained it, Thorns is one of those builds that's been labeled by most Diablo players as you either love it or hate it. There's a very few in between. Some people don't like the playstyle where all of your damage is based on enemies damaging you. People just don't like that. But to others, it's really fun. And I don't know, it's hard to say not engaging because this guy's doing the highest level content in the game with his own build here. So needless to say, and I guess I can, even though we kind of went over it. So like I said, he was made a bet. They were like, no way you're going to walk into 100 with your own build and clear it. And like I said, the $1,000 bet, he won. One try, didn't know the layout of the dungeon. Now he did say he died somewhere here. First of all, really down to earth and cool guy. We had a nice Discord conversation and a really down to earth guy here. So he couldn't quite come up with a name for the build yet. So we're going to call this the Meta Thorns build by K-Galt. That's going to be the name. We're going to have a build planner in the description, his YouTube channel in the description. I'm expecting great things from this guy because this build is crazy impressive. So with that, let's go over the build planner. And again, there will be a link to this video if you would like to keep watching it. So K-Galt Nightmare 100 Thorns build. We have the Might aspect with Strength, Maximum Life, cooldown reduction and total armor. Basic skills grant 20% DR for whatever, 100% uptime. He's using Frenzy. Amazing. Next, we have aspect of the Iron Warrior. Iron Skin grants Unstoppable, 10 to 20% damage reduction depending on the role. We have DR to close, DR to enemies that are bleeding, which they will be. DR while fortified, and then total armor. Next we have the gloves. We have Berserk Ripping here, and you're going to see how crazy his uptime is. For Berserking, strength, all stats, damage to injured, and 20% of the base damage dealt is going to be additional as bleeding over 5 seconds. Berserker's Aspect, lucky hit chance, 35% to gain X fortified when you deal direct damage while berserking here. And as far as the rolls, DR while bleeding, DR while fortified, DR from close, and for some of the first time we're seeing it ever, DR while injured, which has a very high roll percent chance. That's important to keep in mind for sure. And as far as the boots, we have Exploiter's Aspect with fortified gen, all stats, strength, and damage reduction while injured. Once again, those two rolls, very high rolls that you can get. Very smart to have them on those two pieces. So you can already, I mean, besides his incredible achievement, you know this guy knows what he's talking about. This is what a real build from a real top tier player looks like. Next, of course, in the two hand, you need the Needle Flare Aspect. Thorns damage dealt has a 20 to 40% chance to deal damage in an AoE all around you. All stats, strength, vulnerable damage, and damage to close enemies. Aspect of Burning Rage. While berserking, you deal X fire damage every second to surrounding enemies. All stats, strength, vulnerable damage while berserking here. Weapon, we have 20 basic skill damage. Armor, maximum life, which is why he has insane life. Jewelry, we have 250 armor. Next, we have the Rapid Aspect, 30% increased attack speed. All stats, strength, vulnerable damage while berserking. You guys kind of get the point on that. Gain X thorns while berserking. All stats, strength, vuln, damage to close here. For the rings, Bear Clan Berserker's Aspects, which you probably haven't seen before if you've been playing some of the more common build. Killing an enemy while berserking has a 40% chance to grant up to 32% increased cooldown reduction to your brawling skills. So you might be thinking, what the hell is he doing with this? Where are his brawling skills? Let's hover over it. Not this, basic dual wield. We have Challenging Defensive. We have Iron Skin Defensive. Weapon Mastery and Steel Grasp. Rallying Cries Defensive. But War Cries Brawling. Interesting. And then think about the Martial Glyph. What happens? The more often you start using your shouts, the better cooldown reduction you get on your other shouts. So what is this doing? Killing an enemy while berserking has a 40% chance to grant up to 32% increased cooldown reduction to your brawling skills for 2 seconds. This is big. This is very big. So this has incredible synergy with overall shout cooldown reduction. Next, we have Bold Chieftain's Aspect, of course, maximum life, damage to injured enemies, vulnerable damage and damage to close, and max life, vulnerable damage to close and damage while berserking. And finally, on the necklace, cooldown reduction, DR from close, and DR while fortified paired with strength here, with the Disobedience Aspect on the neck piece. So really impressive. Like I said, this will all be down there as far as the skill tree. Frenzy, Imposing Presence, Martial Vigor, which is of course DR against elites, which you will in fact need if you're brave enough to go toe to toe with an elite at Nightmare 100, like for sure. Outburst, this is of course required for Thorns builds. Tough as Nails, again you're going to need this for Thorn build. Only 1 point into Challenging Shout, 1 and 2 in hand, and he doesn't even have the increased ranked defensive skills. So he's really just taking 1 point to Challenging Shout. He takes the Enhanced Challenging Shout, Strategic, despite what people are claiming about losing the Fortify, it's whatever. 1-1-1 here on the shouts, and look what he's doing. This guy knows. For someone who watched no guides, made this himself as a top tier player, he knew that God Royale was going to be insanely strong, so it's nice to see, besides myself and the people with me that have theory crafted this, that someone else that's a top tier player figured this out on their own. Aggressive Resistance, because of the high uptime of berserking, an additional 9% DR here. Pit Fighter, Hamstring, CC to bleed effects, Thick Skin, Steel Grasp, we have points all the way down to Fighter Steel Grasp, 3 points into Duelist, and then finally Unconstrained for that maximum, pretty much 100% uptime berserk duration. So if you are playing a Thorns build or plan to play a Thorns build and you're not playing this build, you're trolling. Anything else, you can just throw it right in the garbage, because this one takes the cake. This one takes the cake for sure. Let's look at his Paragon. I was very curious about this. This is the first thing I went to when he showed me the build. Exploit, we know. Everyone takes that. higher. This is an interesting one. I've seen this a few times, but I'm really glad I took this because of his high berserking uptime. You take 10% reduced damage from elites, which makes it much easier to face tank them with thorns, and you'll deal increased damage while berserking here. Next we have Martial here, where we talked about the shout cooldown. Then we have Territorial, which is kind of expected here, and then Revenge, which is going to be the required Thorns glyph. And if you look around, he did a lot of damage while berserking duration. We have tons of DR while fortify and fortify gen. Another thing you're going to notice by kind of a player who clearly knows what he's doing is he did not take what? Warbinger. He didn't, because he probably realized very quickly that it's a waste to go there. Or the Paragon Board just didn't work out for him, which is fine as well. But he easily could have gone there. I mean, if you look at some of these, you can say he could have gone to that tree if he really wanted the legendary node here. So he took lots of health, potion healing, maximum health, vulnerable damage and armor. I mean, like I said, when you go to this video and you can see the base stats, what does he have? We have 8.4 thousand armor, 26.8 thousand health. Crazy, by the way. Crazy amount of health. You can see he made damn sure he took as much HP as possible in this Paragon board here. He also took something that I showcased in my Machine Gun Hammer the Ancients build. While berserking, critical strikes increase your attack speed by 2% up to 8% for 6 seconds. Really strong carnage for any attack speed build. Now that we did that, let's jump back to the video really quickly and just go to the boss. Alright, so here we are entering the boss's domain. Let's see how we do 1v1 against this boss here. Love it. Don't dodge a thing. Who cares? I'm curious about his health. I mean, the health bar is moving. I mean, the boss's health bar is moving, but his health bar is not moving. That's the key here. And if you're curious, take a look at his shouts, right? We talked about the node that reduces the shout duration. That's giving him additional cooldowns across all of his shouts. Very important to keep in mind of. Yeah, so I think the only, I guess, unfortunate part about this build would be you don't necessarily get a massive Thorns bonus. This is also a good fight if you consider 4 Thorns, because ads are spawning, ads are damaging him, increasing his Thorns output to the boss. But I mean, he's still pumping fairly well. If I had to guess, most of the orange gems he has on his weapons are for bosses and elites, because they can take a while to kill, and it's rarely you're going to fight an elite one-on-one. There are very few dungeons that kind of have that going for it, but it's clear to see that, I mean, this only took, we're at 13 minutes here, and I'm sure this boss fight is going to take a while. So let's see. 15, let's go all the way to 17 minutes here. Yeah, so I mean, as far as clearing goes, even though Whirlwind was able to do this in, I don't know, I want to say 8, 9, 10 minutes. I know we've had quite a few people who have done this with Whirlwind builds. This is still crazy impressive. This is definitely better than the Hammer of the Ancients clear that had to gamble with the healthy necklace for the immunity barrier. They had to use a pylon to kill elites here. So as of right now, I would say it's hard to weigh in clear time, and I guess I can go over this in a follow-up video I'm going to do with the tier list of the best builds for Barbarian going into Season 1 here, but we're going to have to consider where Thorns is going to be in relation to Whirlwind for Nightmare Tier 100 pushes. Because even though it's a bit longer, the fact that it could just go toe-to-toe with elites is something that Whirlwind cannot. So that's going to conclude this video. Huge shout out to Kgal. Crazy impressive. I love this stuff. I love watching it. I love seeing the thought process behind making the builds, and of course talking to people who think this way, looking at their Paragon boards. It's just so impressive. And if you love Barbarians, you're going to love content like this too. So if you do enjoy this content, smash the like button, subscribe, turn the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next video.